Morning, everyone.
Morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Kesubos, Parakeh, Chapter 5, Mishnah Beis, Mishnah 2. Noisin lebesula shnei masar chodesh mishatava habal. We give a virgin 12 months from the point where the husband asks her to get ready. Lafanis is atzma, to prepare herself. Now, in the times of the Mishnayos and many years after that, as we've been learning, a marriage starts with Kedushin. That's the first part of the marriage. Once Kedushin is done, a woman is already married, just that her and her husband cannot live yet as husband and wife. And once they go to the chuppah, they can live as husband and wife. In the times of the Mishna, as I said, many years after that, Kedushin was done at one point, and the chuppah was done, could be around a year later. Nowadays, we do one after the other. We do it right then and there. We do it under the chuppah. We do erisin and we do kedushin and nesuin. But originally, they were done at separate times. Now, once the kedushin is done, and the husband asks his bride, his kala, to get ready for the wedding. Get it ready means get her clothing for being married, get ornaments for being married. She gets 12 months to prepare herself. That's what it means when the Mishnah reads, we give a virgin 12 months from when the husband asks her to get ready to prepare herself for her marriage. And just as we give the woman 12 months, so too we give the man the same amount of time to prepare himself. Meaning, when she asks him to get ready for the wedding, he then gets also 12 months to get ready. 12 months means he gets 12 months to prepare the chasana feast, to prepare the chuppah, to get all that together. He also gets 12 months. So the point is that after erisin, when he asks her to get ready, and she asks him to get ready, we give them 12 months to do so. Now, that is when it comes to a basula, to a virgin. Ula almana shleishim yom. But if, let's say, a person is marrying a widow, then she gets 30 days. Why? Because she's already got everything from her first marriage. If she's a virgin, she's never been married, so she needs time to be able to get ready with clothing, with jewelry, and things like that. But if she's an almana, she has it already from her first marriage. It's not like she has to go through the whole thing again for the second marriage, and therefore she gets 30 days to do so. Now, higia zman v'lo nisu. The time came and they did not get married. I mean, 12 months passed and they did not get married. Now, oicheles mishaloi v'oicheles b'truma. She now may eat from his and eat truma. Now, what's happening here is that the 12 months came, and it says they did not get married. Why did not get married? So for our Mishnah, the point is that he was not ready. 12 months passed, and he's not ready yet to go ahead and have the chuppah. At that point of time, oicheles mishaloi, she eats from his. He supports her. V'oicheles b'truma, and if she is a woman who is a non-Kohen, for the daughter of a non-Kohen, who is mureses to who is married and waiting for chuppah to a Kohen, she can even eat truma. Now, she has been in arusa already for 12 months. Until the deadline came for getting married, she was not eating truma. It's only now, after the 12 months have passed and they were supposed to get married, that we say, and he's the one who is not ready, that's when we say he supports her and she can even eat truma. But she's not married to him fully yet. There was no chuppah. So until the deadline, she can't eat truma. But after the deadline, she can. Why? The explanation is that midaraisa, according to Torah law, a woman who is, again, she's not the daughter of a Kohen, and she is mu'uresa. She had kedusha done to her by a Kohen. She could already eat truma. She is already his wife enough to be able to eat truma. The Torah says that the kinyan kesef, that which is purchased through money by a Kohen, can eat truma. That goes on a slave, and it goes on the woman he made kedushin on. She is kinyan kaspa. He has acquired her through his money. Doesn't have to be through money, but the point is he's acquired her. He's acquired her for marriage. That acquisition is enough to have her be considered acquired by the Kohen, that the Kohen can feed her truma. But normally, the Chachamim said, under normal circumstances, meaning just as she's mureses, we don't allow her to eat truma. Why? Because her chassan's going to give her a nice cup of truma wine, and what's she going to do? She's going to share it with her family, because hey, he sent her this wonderful truma wine. She can drink it, and she's going to decide to share it with her family, which she may not, because they're not Kohanim. And therefore, the Chachamim said, even though according to Torah law she may eat truma, we don't allow it. But at this point of time, where it's the 12 months have already passed for marriage, and we say then, whether she's a Kohen or not, he supports her. Now, when he supports her, does he support her while she is still living by her father? The answer is no. If he's going to support her, he actually finds her own apartment, finds her own special place. I don't know if she means she lives there all the time, she eats there, I'm not sure exactly. But the point is that when the 12 months pass and he has to support her, he makes a special living quarters for her away from her family, because if he's supporting her, right, he doesn't want her sharing the food that he supports her with her family, even if we're not talking about truma. Even we're talking about food that their other family members can eat. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to spend money on her and she shares it with her family. So when he comes to the point of supporting her, she's already separate from her family, and therefore there is no concern in case she is married to a Kohen and he wants to give her truma, he can give her the truma, because once she is separate from her family, there is no concern that she's going to feed it to them. So that's what it means, oicheles mishaloi, oicheles b'truma, she eats from his and she eats truma. Okay, now, the Mishnah now continues in the following. Just one thing before we continue the Mishnah. So we say that when the 12 months comes and he's not ready, he supports her. If the 12 months comes and she's not ready, he doesn't have to support her. Okay, next. Rabbi Tarfon says, and we're talking about a case now of a woman who is Mukudeshes, she's betrothed to a Kohen. And we just said before, she can eat truma. Nice little hakol truma. According to Rabbi Tarfon, the chassan Kohen, the Kohen husband, again, she's mureses to him, according to the husband, because she is married to him. So he can give her truma. He can give her everything truma. All the food that he gives her, he can give her truma. Why do we want to do that? Because truma is less expensive than chulin, the non-truma food. Truma is, exclusive to Kohanim. You don't get a lot of money for that. It doesn't have that much value. So he figures, I'll save money and I'll just give her truma to eat. But there's a problem. When she becomes a nida, which is going to happen, she becomes tameh, she becomes impure, she may not eat truma. What is she going to eat then? The answer is, says Reb Tarfon, go sell it. Take the truma, sell it to a Kohen, and you use that money to support yourself. Assuming that, again, I'm assuming that it's enough for her to be able to be supported by that. But again, at the end of the day, he still gains when he's giving the truma to her because of the fact that it's not as valuable. It doesn't have as much value as chulin. So he goes out and he saves himself money and he gives her truma. So according to Reb Tarfon, you can give her everything from truma. What is she going to do when she becomes a nida, when she has her period and she becomes impure and she cannot eat from the truma? What is she going to eat then? She takes the truma, she sells it, and she eats. Rabbi Akiva says, mechza chulin or mechza truma. Nope. Half is chulin, half is truma. That means that you give her truma for when she can eat truma, and when she can't eat truma, for instance, she is tameh because she had her period, she's a nida, then she's given chulin, so that she doesn't have to take truma and sell it, but he gives her the food that she can eat directly. So based on this, they bring down here in the notes, very interestingly, that if the whole point of Rebbe Tarfon is that I can give her truma, and when she's a nida, when she has her period and she's tameh and she can't eat the truma, she'll sell the truma. So they bring down here from the Tosfos Yontif that actually Rebbe Tarfon, who says you can give her everything for truma, is very specific. It is actually talking about a case of the daughter of a Kohen who is Mekudeshes to a Kohen. Now, the 12 months have passed. He's supposed to be taking her to the chuppah. He hasn't. He's feeding her. What is he feeding her? Truma. What is she going to do when she's a nida, when she's tamei? She's going to sell it. That works if she's a daughter of a Kohen. Because being she's a daughter of a Kohen, and she was already used to eating truma by her father, she knows that when she is tamei, when she's impure, she cannot eat truma, and she's got to do something about it. But if you're talking, and therefore by her, Reb Tarfon says, give her everything truma. You can give her everything truma. And what does she do when she's impure? She sells it. But she knows to do that. But if you're talking about a non-Kohen's daughter, who's Mekudeshes to a Kohen, and we say, okay, under these circumstances, after 12 months, he's supporting her, he separates her from the family, so he can give her truma. But he can't just give her all truma. Because to rely on her to know that when he gives her truma and she is impure because she's a nida, that she will know to sell it, we're afraid she's not going to know that. We're afraid she's not used to it. She doesn't realize it. She's not accustomed to it. And therefore she's going to eat it when she's actually impure. So therefore, even according to Reb Tarfon, if you're talking about a non-Kohen's daughter who is Mekudeshes to a Kohen, and he's going to give her truma, even Reb Tarfon says in those cases, it's got to be half truma, half chulin. You can't rely on her to give her truma, only truma, and rely on her that she's going to realize or remember or know that when she is tamei, that she has to sell it. And therefore, you got to give her half truma, half chulin, so when she is tamei, when she is impure, she'll have the chulin to eat. She'll have the non-truma to eat. All right. Achol zaheter, da'yidei shnayim le'isha tiva la'asais ma'isa ba'atzmai, eina moyo, rak she'inatz la'yidei zeh me'etzem isur shel diburim asurim, aval kol ponim, mesayaya, yidei over aver le'nafki. What's going on here is like this. He said before that in a situation where a person wants to take a partner, you know that this guy is not a good person to be a partner with, and you want to warn him. Or actually, that's not the case. The case we're talking about is where actually you know that someone wants to harm someone else. So you want to warn him beforehand. So, that's rechilas. You're telling someone how someone wants to do something bad to them. That's rechilas. But we said, if you're doing it to protect him, you could do it. Now, the thing is, though, that you have to be careful, the Chofetz Chaim said, to make sure that this guy who hears the rechilas now and wants to protect himself, all he does is protect himself and not do more than what halach allows him to do. And therefore we said that if, let's say, you have one person warning him, and now he's going to act, and let's say he's going to act and do more to this person, more than one person could allow him to do, because for certain things you need two witnesses and a beis din to allow you to do something. He's going to go ahead and act beyond. He's going to act beyond what he's allowed to do based on one person. We said you can't tell him the rechilas then, because he's going to go beyond what he's allowed to do. But if, let's say, we're talking about that it's two people who, if they went to beis din and they testified in beis din, that would allow him to do what he wants to do. So now when they tell him about this person, and he does exactly what would have happened were the two witnesses to gone to beis din, then you're not transgressing rechilas by telling him, because you're not causing him to do more than what halacha would essentially allow. But now the Chofetz Chaim says the problem is like this, which really makes the whole discussion pretty mute. And that is that at the end of the day, if you're going to go ahead and tell this guy, even if it's two people telling this guy about, okay, this guy wants to hurt you. Now he goes ahead and he acts against that guy based on what two witnesses in beis din would have allowed him to do. But can he do that without those two people actually going to beis din to allow him to do it? No. He can't. He's still acting on his own. And therefore, even if technically this is not rechilas when you tell him, then at the end of the day, you're called misayeya yedei ovrei averi. You're supporting a sinner. You're enabling him. Shal yadam yasu isha mesapin loy davar iser. At the end of the day, if this person acts, he's doing something prohibited. Because just to rely on what they're telling him and to go and to harm his friend based on that, because I'm doing what would have happened if you would have gone to Bezdin, at the end of the day, as long as they have not testified and Bezdin has not allowed him to do so, he can't do it. So therefore, the first part of what the Chofetz Chaim is saying here is that this whole discussion about if it's two people telling him and he acts in a way that if the two people would have testified in Bezdin that he could do this and that's what he's going to do, okay, so you didn't speak Rechilas. It's not Lashon Hara. Because you said it for a constructive purpose, following all the conditions, and he didn't do more than what halacha would potentially allow him to do. But at the end of the day, he's not allowed to act based on what you said. And therefore, now when you tell him what you tell him, and he's going to act, or you know he's going to act, you're called Mesayaya de Oivre Avera. You're called supporting, enabling a person to do something wrong. And therefore, at the end of the day, you wouldn't be able to do it. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.